All right, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Wall Street Rundown. I'm your co-host Billy. I got Wale with me. Let's go, Wale.
Good, everyone.
Man, listen, today's market has been interesting as usual. Let's give you guys a quick background, man. Like, I think that we had like a mixed Friday today. Tech's still going up there. There's no stopping check. Some of the blue chips kind of lag behind a little bit. So the Nasdaq extended its rally. I mean, the semis was doing so good, man. Even though we had geopolitical tension and all these different things that was easing kind of a little bit, we're still going higher on that front. The Dow Jones didn't do too much, didn't too bad, but it's like there's you can see some weakness there a little bit too. But again, if you look at all the chip makers, man, they're once again, I mean, Nvidia, AMD push higher. They kind of like pulled the broader market a little bit today. Also, I mean, on the downside though, Intel kind of dropped a little bit after earnings. I mean, there's some
Mo-
disappointing
More than
outlooks
a
there.
more than a little bit.
There's some disappointing outlook there. That that's this is a good reminder that not all tech stocks sometimes move in sync. I mean, Intel still had a they still have a long runway, right? They got to figure it out. They have to figure it out. But to come from under $20 like few months ago to like over $40 in like few months, I mean, that's still a good move. You know what I mean? So, but overall, I think the market's still kind of figuring out the geopolitical stuff, and trying to figure out, how to move from here. But let's dive into it, man. If you want to give you a quick analysis of what you feel like the market is doing now.
Yeah, so one of the things we have to remember is I think the Greenland thing, whether it's permanently solved or unpermanently solved, we don't know yet. But
Right.
right now we've got a framework of what should or could happen in the future. So we'll just let that do what it does. Earnings week is next week, right? So a lot
Hmm.
of big tech names are going to be reporting. So to me, the market is kind of trading sideways, waiting for more clarity on what those numbers will look like, what
Right.
the guidance will look like um, from those companies. We also have a Fed meeting next week.
Yep.
So again, when you kind of see a market that's kind of in a wait and see approach, that doesn't come to me as a big surprise. So, overall, considering how far we dropped on Tuesday, and looking at where we ended the week, yeah, not too bad.
Right.
I can kind of say it's almost like we finished where we slightly higher from where we closed last week on QQQ. And I think on SPY, yeah, we a little bit lower than where we closed from last week on SPY. So not a terrible week, almost, So I will until we get past all of next week's madness, then we'll have a better understanding of where the market could go. IWM got absolutely hit hard, pretty hard
Yep.
today.
Yep.
It has been on a pretty significant run this year, so maybe we've got some profit taken, but I did see that we did find support on the hourly 200 moving average. So we saw that today. I was looking to swing some calls, but I didn't pull the trigger on that. But
Yep.
um, yeah, I think decent week considering where we started.
Yep. Yep. Speaking of decent, man, go look at gold. Go look at silver. Them bad boys are hitting all-time high left and right. Like it is crazy to see gold at like almost hitting 5,000. Like we're not that far from there. Silver hit $100.
I'm about
If
to
you go look
sell
at
all my
chart,
jewelry.
if you go look at silver, like not even like 2 months ago, go look at silver 2 months ago, where we at versus where we are today. Like it's crazy, man. It seemed like people bought gold all of 2025, and now it's like, okay, what's next? Gold is getting too expensive. Let's find the next, mineral. Boom, silver is moving like crazy. Like those two are moving like, I don't know, man. They're not moving like minerals. They're moving like more like a tech stock or something. You know what I mean? They are just skyrocketing from here. So, but what does that mean for like the overall economy though? Like even when it comes to the stock market, because in the past, I know we talked about this before, gold normally is viewed as a safe haven for like if stocks going down, but we're not seeing that happening. I feel like stock market is going up, gold is going up, and now silver is just joined the movement. So it's like what is happening? Like what is the biggest fear that people are seeing right now?
And the thing that I will keep asking myself is there a inflation scare that people are trying to get ahead of that we don't see yet? That is my assumption of why it could be running like this. Because again,
Mhm.
historically, gold, silver, commodities, things like that, they are um, they are considered defensive commodities, right? When
Mhm.
things are going down, when inflation is high, and things like that. Now, I'll say this too. I think we can debunk the notion that Bitcoin is an inflation hedge because if Bitcoin is supposed to be digital gold, right? Bitcoin should also be moving in the same direction as gold. But to me, Bitcoin trades more like a tech stock than anything.
Mhm.
So I don't know how. When I look at the correlation with Bitcoin and inflation, I'm not really seeing that story playing out, especially what we're seeing now. Another thing that I'm probably thinking about is because if you look at another commodity that has done very well is copper. So are these materials in high demand because of the chip building business? Could that also be it? Because I know some of these chips and some of the, some of the in the when companies are, I know copper is needed, right? So
Right.
are gold and silver also
Yep.
electricity conductors that are being used
Yep.
in this
Especially gold.
process?
Yeah. Yeah.
So that could be it as well.
Yep. Yep. That's true.
So
That's true.
those are the only two theories that I can think of is that as we're needing more chips, as we're needing more technology, as we're needing more conductors of electricity and currencies and things like that, these precious metals are getting more and more important in that story. I've missed the entire run. I'm not going to chase it at this level. But yeah, silver was up. SLV was up 6.63% today. GLD was up 1.37% today, which is ridiculous. If anybody has been in this trade, over the last couple of months, congrats to you because SLV was what, $41 back in October, late October, and now we're at what,
Mhm.
92?
Mhm.
Yeah, so I think that those are my two theories. Besides that, I can't I can't sit here and give you a legitimate reason why it's been flying like this.
Yeah. I mean, it makes. I mean, I think your theory makes sense. It's like the companies that actually producing those. They might actually be buying gold on the low to make sure that they're able to utilize it in their chips and stuff. So
Maybe.
that's for me, that's a legitimate reason for why we're seeing gold riding like that. It's like it's just crazy. Like I can't imagine just regular people buying gold and the price is going up like that. This
No.
has to be heavy, heavy, heavy money coming into the golds, and now it's into silver also. So
Yeah.
something's happening there,
Yeah, I need to do more research and see how much gold and silver are used in the chip manufacturing process, and
Mm-hmm.
also too in data centers and servers and all of those things. Are they being used in the build out of that process? So I need to do some more research on that because to me that is the only legitimate explanation that I can give. Or like I said, maybe somebody knows something about inflation that we just don't know yet, and
Yeah, yeah.
everybody trying to get ahead of it. But man, what a run! It's
Crazy run, man.
it's memory and commodities that are going crazy right now.
Crazy, crazy, crazy run. Well, let's move on to Intel, man. I know you got a chance to jump into the Intel earnings yesterday. So let's talk a little bit about that, what you heard and why we see this pullback.
Yeah, so Intel got absolutely smacked today, and we talked about this on Wednesday.
Mm-hmm.
I said that going into this print, Intel is already up 35%, right? So in order for it to continue to move higher, we need to see stellar numbers. And I
Right.
will say that the numbers from the previous quarter were good, but the guidance was conservative. And I'm going to explain why they did that. So we look at revenue for Q4 2025, we had 13.7 billion, which was slightly above what analysts expected at 13.4 billion. Adjusted EPS was 15 cents a share. Expected was 8 cents a share. So good. Now, year over year, revenue was down about 4%. That's one red flag. Data center and AI segments growth 15%. So there is ongoing demand for AI. Margins improved, but guidance was very, very conservative. So They're guiding Q1 2026 revenue anywhere between 11.7 billion to 12.7 billion. Break even. I mean, and adjusted EPS was basically flat or break even is what they're saying for Q1. So when people heard that, and remember, investors are paying for future growth. I'm not paying for
Yep.
what you did yesterday. I'm paying for what you're going to do in the future. So guidance is very, very important. Intel came out and was very, very conservative about their guidance. Why? So this is the thing that most news outlets did not talk about in detail, but I will say this. There is demand for their business, but they're not able to fulfill orders. They have supply chain issues. They how should I put it? I guess they bet on the wrong thing in Q1 that would drive in Q4 that would drive demand, and it was something else that they were not necessarily prepared for. So they'll have to adjust. Remember what we talked about when we talked about Intel is that the turnaround story is still in play, but what matters is execution. Execution needs to improve. So picture this, right? You own a coffee shop. You got enough coffee to supply 60 customers,
Hmm.
but you got 200 customers outside. So you got 140 customers that aren't going to be able to produce product.
Right.
That's revenue from 140 customers that you can't book on your balance sheet. So this is the thing. As long as those customers come back and still want your product and you are able to get over the supply chain hurdle to produce more, that's a good problem to have, right? Over over demand and under supply is a good thing, is a good product to have. Now, I don't know if they're going to use that to their advantage and try to charge people more. I don't know. We'll see. But
Right.
execution in Q1 is going to be very, very important because if those customers come back and still need what you are supposed to deliver, you have to be able to deliver. And I think what Intel said is we don't know if we can. We're just going to, give, tepid guidance because we don't want to be like, oh yeah, 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 yeah. You know,
Yeah.
we'll
Yeah.
we'll meet the demand. And then come Q1, they're like, I'd rather be like, I don't know. I'll take the hit now. And then when I report Q1
Surprise.
and I'm able to fulfill it, then you know.
Yep.
But over demand is not a bad thing in the business, right? They just need to figure out, okay, how do we work with our suppliers to make sure that we can fulfill all of these orders?
Right. Right.
So that's a good problem to have. I'll also state too that a lot of analysts raise their price targets on Intel.
Hmm.
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 Probably something you didn't hear in the news today. But let me see. And some of them had low price targets already, but let me where's my list of different price? So Benchmark raised their price target to 57. They gave it a buy rating. UPS raised their price target to 52 with a neutral outlook. Southland Securities 54 with an outperform. Stifel raised their target to 42 from 35. Jeffries raised their price target to 45. So analysts are seeing something in the stock because again, if they felt that the stock was going to underperform, I don't think you raise your price target.
Exactly.
I think what they're saying now is, okay, we see demand is there. Let's give them the benefit of the doubt that they'll be able to execute and meet that demand.
Hmm.
Another thing Intel did not reveal is any new customers for their foundry business. The CFO did not give that information out. Maybe investors were expecting some big announcement. They didn't like that. They sold the stock. So I would not be surprised if this stock continues to pull back more. I will say that a 17% drawdown in one day might be a little bit excessive, right? But I don't think that the turnaround story has completely changed. I think we see a time of maybe some consolidation, maybe more of a pullback. But again, this was something that I said would take anywhere between 3 to 5 years.
Yep. Yep.
I did not think we would be here in 2026. So we just got to be patient and see how this plays out. Now, again, if anything fundamentally changes in the story, losing customers, right? And, things fundamentally change in the business, then that's when you have to make a decision and say, okay, do I want to cut this trade off and get out and, look for something else?
Right.
But for me right now, be patient and hold it. That's just how I feel.
Yep. And you mentioned something very important, the foundry business. I mean, I think they just rolled that out, right? Like toward the end of last year, I believe, to be able to
Hmm.
manufacture chips for other people. I mean, if you think about it, this is a US based company. The government is already backing them up. So, and they have the CHIPS Act also inside of that. So they have all the right players in place for them to not fail. Right.
Correct.
So going back to what you said now, it's all about execution.
Execution. Yep.
I think the foundry business is going to be very important as chips are now needed more and more. NVIDIA only designs. NVIDIA probably only have TSM and Intel now to be able to build their chips for them. So it's like I think they're going to be able to see a lot more revenue coming from that perspective. Now,
Hmm.
the other side of the business, I think in my opinion, I think Intel should focus on one solid area. I don't think they should spread it out like that, but it's like, it's up to them, right? If it's working in both, why not? But at the end
Yeah.
of the day, I think they're still a good company. I mean, there's still a lot of work to be done, but I honestly believe they're still a good company, especially like
Correct.
since the U.S. government is backing them.
Another thing you also have to understand is in the foundry business. So Intel's been in the foundry business for quite some time, but
But
they're the biggest US based pure play foundry. The others are Samsung and TSM.
still same, yep,
Those are not US based companies.
right,
The US and Donald Trump have been very animate about trying to um, release dependency on foreign countries when it comes to making chips. So who are you going to go to? You know, Intel.
Intel,
Now, I don't
yeah,
think Intel's going to be able to handle the same kind of load that a TSM would be able to handle. I don't think so. But if they can handle some of the load, right? I think that does make sense for them to, to get the U.S. is going to give them the support that they need. So they've got to execute Q1 because again, you can't take a 17% stock hit in one day and take that lightly, right?
right,
You got to take that personally and say, okay, we're gonna try to execute on all fronts. But again, to me, high demand, low supply is a good problem to have. Like I
yep.
said, if I'm a coffee shop and I can't fulfill orders because everybody keeps coming to my coffee shop and I keep running out of coffee, hey man, that's a good problem to have.
Yep.
So
Yep. Yep.
yeah,
On another side news that I want to talk about is APLD. I know we just talked a little bit about it before we got on. I mean, you guys go look at that APLD move today. I think it moved by like 8.46% up today alone. Like it's a crazy move, right? And I think we talked about APLD. I think while they even did a whole breakdown of APLD and all this stuff, but they are building a new AI factory, which means there's a demand for this, purpose to build AI infrastructure. So it's like there is a demand going on, big, big demand. So they are like really in there, right? So again, this was one of those companies that we talked about a lot. Like this is another company to watch out for as it started to move. Like I think when we talked about it, I think it was still in their 20s, I believe.
I think like 17, 20.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And then it hit like 40 and then it retracted a little bit and now it's moving back up again. So again, keeping an eye on some of those stocks, man, because those are not going to stop. Now, with the increase in AI demand, like I don't know if you live in Philadelphia or even like Pennsylvania, you see there's a huge fight going on right now with PGM. I think it's like People Gas something
Yeah.
where
PJM.
they yeah. So what's going on with them right now is the data centers are building data centers all over Pennsylvania, and they're eating up at the grid. What that's happening is the people are now paying even more for electricity because the demand has gone up. So there is a big problem happening when it comes to like electricity and data centers and trying to support this ecosystem of energy that we haven't seen quite honestly for a long time. You know, I think for the past 20, 30, 40 years, I think the energy demand for the US has been flat. Like there hasn't been like a need to like increase energy production like that when it comes to electricity. Everything has been flat. But now within the past 4 or 5 years, it's been going up like crazy. And it's all because of those data centers. So now you're seeing the government is stepping in, and we talked about Donald Trump like stepping in, trying to make sure like energy doesn't go up for regular people. But at the same time, this introduced a whole slew of problems, right? Because we do need those data centers if the U.S. is trying to be in the forefront of this whole AI revolution, right? You can't operate without the data centers. You can't operate without the power that those data centers need. You can't operate without infrastructure that So again, I say all this to say is like we've been talking about nuclear energy since 2024, 2025, and now 2026. I think that's going to be the next pivot because we can't really add any more energy supply, electricity supply to the grid that we have right now. We can't add any more. Like that one data center, they one data center requires enough energy to power a whole city. Like that little data center. And that's crazy. That's a lot of energy. You know what I mean? So again, where are we gonna go and get those energies from? I really think we're gonna dive head first into the nuclear energy because
And I don't
I
know if
don't see anything
anybody's
else.
actually I don't know if anybody's actually seen a data center or drove by a data center. Those things are massive.
Massive,
Massive.
massive.
They are massive, energy consuming, thirsty infrastructure.
24 hours, 7 days a week, 365 days. They don't stop. There's no like, you know, uh going down or shutting down. Like they have to be running. They
No,
have to be running, you
yeah.
know? So
So I think again, everybody wants to look at where the next big opportunity is, right? I still feel that off-grid power supply is going to be needed to push or to meet the demand that we will need for these data centers. Also, too, again, AI infrastructure to me is still something that is in play. I'm not gonna I can't sit here and say that the AI demand is fake, that it's, you know, not needed. I just don't know what the demand will eventually be.
right.
Is it 1 trillion? Is it 800 million? Is it 2 billion? I don't know. We don't know what that final number is going to look like. People
Yeah.
are still making their projections, but there will be a need and there is demand. So, yeah, to me, like I said, I think off-grid power supply is going to be needed, and I am heavily banking on SMRs to meet that demand. Um, you know, we still have, it's still, to me, it's still in the early stages of what is
Yeah.
possible at this point.
Yep.
To me, we're still in the early innings. So if you've been sleeping under a rock, if you haven't been paying attention, SMR is going to be needed. And again, as we make a shift from AI to quantum, at some point, we don't know when that's going to happen. Go go Google how much energy is needed to run quantum
Yep.
and go look at how much cooling technology is needed to run quantum, right? So
Yep. You talk
don't
about high speed computers. Like, yeah.
yeah. So we don't know when quantum is going to become a I mean, look at pre-COVID. Like nobody was talking about Chat GPT or Gemini or
Nope.
Anthropic or you didn't hear nothing about that 5 years ago. Here we are,
Mhm.
2026, and the things that you are able to see within AI is just crazy.
Yep.
Now we're hearing about quantum now. Does quantum need another 5 years to become mainstream? We don't know.
No, man. It's probably gonna be faster.
It might be faster, who knows?
It's gonna be
So, but
faster.
just know that the smartest minds in the world are that's what they're working on.
Yep.
So when that comes, so when you got AI and you got quantum running in the same ecosystem, I mean, power just don't you can't just take the sun and just like create
Nope.
power.
Nope.
No.
And I think they're gonna. I think people are starting to learn is like we need to have the infrastructure ready right now, as
Hmm.
opposed to like right now with AI, people are scrambling for power. Right? It's like we're trying to figure out where we're gonna get this power to support this build. But when this happens, is they're probably thinking like 10, 20 years from now. It's like, okay, we have all this technology that's gonna come. We need to be able to supply to build the infrastructure today to be able to support that whatever is coming.
Hmm.
So I really, really think the next 5 to 10 years is going to be very, very pivotal for us to like make sure you put your money in the right place when it comes to this. Like
Hmm.
it's going to be very, very pivotal because this is not a problem that's going to go away. This is just going to get bigger with time. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
it's going to be interesting, man.
Yeah.
It's going to be
And
interesting.
like I said, I really do feel that um somebody actually sent me a good friend of mine, shout out to Aaron Cruderson, sent me a tweet today,
Mm,
and I looked at it this morning, and it basically said, "This is the kind of market where you simply buy what the president tells you to." So you've got a couple categories: rare earths, defense, AI infrastructure, critical minerals, energy, chips, memory, space, drones, nuclear, autonomous vehicles, robotics, batteries. And he sent me a picture of, I don't know what this picture, I think it's just a watch list.
hmm.
But all of the things that the government says that they're looking to support right now, I mean, I don't see why you wouldn't be an investor in at least one of those, right? So, you
You
know,
got. They're not talking about clothes. They're not talking about food. They're talking about big
and
things that.
and yeah, exactly. And this is why I keep telling myself that if I'm an investor, I'm looking at B2B. I'm not looking at B2C right now.
Yep.
I'm not looking now. I'm not saying that B2C
Don't ignore it.
doesn't
Yeah, but.
work. I'm not saying ignore it. I mean, Dollar Tree had a really good year last year. If you look at how the
Hmm.
stock performed, that's a
Hmm.
B2C company.
Yep.
But I feel that the growth and the demand that we're going to see in the future, to me, technology is still what's going to power that. Anything that makes life easier, makes life more convenient, makes life, you know, simpler, that's where I'd be putting my money. So,
Yep. Yep.
I think we're in the early innings of things. And again, you don't have to throw all your money in there today. Like, right, just
Right.
have a watch list of companies that are leading these sectors, understand them, know what they do, right? And go from there. Make your
Yep.
decisions.
Yep.
You got
Yep.
ETFs out there that probably got like AI infrastructure ETFs. You probably got all kind of ETFs that are kind of commingled with technology. I think another VGT, Vanguard's technology
Vanguard.
ETF, is a
Yep.
good place to start if you
Yep.
don't want to, pick one stock, but just don't get left behind as things are coming into fruition. So
Mhm.
yeah, that's my 10 cents for today,
Right. And
Yeah.
you can use ChatGPT for that. Go look up, just type in, give me all the ETF or AI
Oh
or
man, yeah.
robotics or whatever it is you're looking for.
Man,
It's so easy now. It's
it's
like I
so
don't.
it's to this is what I keep saying to people, you know, started getting into stocks in high school. I walked into a computer lab and I saw my counterparts on Yahoo Finance looking at their stock portfolios. And I was like, what are these dudes doing?
Mm,
And that's what got me interested. And I kept looking at what they were doing. And at that time, I didn't have no money. So I just basically built a mock portfolio on Yahoo Finance.
mhm.
And I built that portfolio and I watch that portfolio every single day. I still actually have the portfolio in my Yahoo account to this day.
Crazy.
And I just, that's what got me intellectually obsessed with capital markets.
Yep.
Back then, access to information and barrier of entry into the stock market was very different than what it is today, right? When we were buying mutual funds, you buy what we call A shares, where you have to pay 5% up front. You put in $100, only $95 gets invested.
Hmm.
You had minimum brokerage account minimums that you had to maintain in order to have a brokerage account, right? If you wanted to buy a stock, the stock was $300, you needed to have $300 to buy that one stock. Now you've got so much access to information like this. The barrier of entry is so small. I mean, I was talking to a friend yesterday. She wanted to open up a Fidelity account for a Roth IRA. Fidelity has 7,000 ETFs and stocks you can buy at fractional shares. The minimum that you need to invest is $1.
$1. Yep.
Same thing with Robinhood because they have what we call fractional shares. No
Yep.
maintenance fees, no A shares, none of that BS we used to have back in the early 2000s.
Hmm.
So, because of this, barrier of entry and access to information is so easy. You just have to put in the time to do your due diligence, right?
Yep. Yep.
So I think no one really has an excuse not to be an investor. Now, again, I would say this: trading isn't for everybody. Investing should be.
Investing is yes.
Investing should be. So,
Yes.
just don't complicate the process. Think about what you want to commit and just know where the world is moving. Follow people like us who are going to give you good quality information
Yep.
And then, like even if you can commit a $5 a week, to me that's better than nothing.
That is better, way better than nothing.
Yeah,
You
that's
know?
better. That's better than nothing.
Yeah. And the biggest thing I'll tell people is automate that thing. Do
Automated.
not like
Yeah,
just automate it. Because I'm
automated.
telling you, you will figure out life without that extra $100 that you're putting into the stock market every month. You will figure it out that you don't need that extra latte, whatever it is that you get for $100. You know what I mean? You will figure it out. And if you get up to like $1,000, trust me, you will figure out how to live life without an extra $1,000 that goes to your market and that goes into the stock market. You will figure it out somehow. Our way of adopting changes. I'm telling you, you figured it out. So
Yeah,
you just gotta start. That's the thing. You
yeah,
just gotta put something out there.
yeah. The best day
Um,
to start investing was yesterday, and the best
Yesterday.
day to start investing was the day before that. So
Yep.
I remember back in 2024, I actually took a friend of mine. I took their phone and I made them buy Nvidia at $88.
They're probably happy now. I hope they didn't sell it, but they're probably happy right now.
I don't think they sold it, but I don't even know if they know what's going on.
You should tell them to go check
I,
it.
bas- I basically I basically took their phone. I was like, buy Nvidia, and I was like, the rest will work itself out.
That's crazy, man. That's crazy. But again, like I think investing doesn't look sexy to people because it doesn't turn the return like right away, right? It's not like a 2 month thing and you send $1,000 in your account.
Correct.
But I'm telling you, the patience, if you just do it, small pieces here and there, that $100 would turn into something that you probably didn't think is going to turn into. Like, just keep adding more. You
Hmm.
guys, the compound interest that goes on top of that is like, come on, y'all. Like,
Yeah,
yeah,
I think what has happened is that the fluctuation of trading and the gains that come from trading has distorted people's minds about
yeah,
investing. I think that
yep,
that's why, because I started trading options in 2016 is when I started trading options. And that was something that nobody was really doing.
nobody was
Like
talking
that,
about. Yeah,
nobody was talking about it. Nobody was like, it was not a thing.
yeah,
Investing was what most people were used to doing, right? I had an account with a place called Options House because that was the only place I could get an account. And I think I had to put in a minimum, I think it was like 5 or 10 grand. That was a minimum. And
damn,
you get charged a commission every time you bought contract, which still exists today.
right,
But that was back then. So I think what people see now is when they go online, you go on Instagram or Threads or whatever, and you see people who are posting 300% gains, 400% gains, 1,000% gains, and all this stuff. And then people see what happened in COVID. If you came into the market during that time, that has distorted your mind about what real
yes,
investing is
yep,
like.
yep,
And some people expect that to happen overnight. But the reality of the matter is that's just not how things work,
yep,
right? So sometimes you need to just get back to basics, get back to the non-sexy stuff, the ETFs, the mutual funds, right? I mean, there's a reason why they don't allow people to trade options in their 401k plans because most people probably blow their
they'll blow your
account
account
out.
in one day.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So they're trying to
yeah,
protect people against
yeah,
themselves.
yeah,
So investing to me is very easy if you take if you just start and don't let anybody tell you what you should personally start with because that dollar figure is your own personal choice. If it's $5, if it's $10, if it's $20, if it's $30, who cares, right? Now, if you're putting in 20,000, if you're putting in $20 and $30, and you're talking about I want to be a millionaire in a year, then that's where you have the distortion.
yeah,
Got to have realistic expectations.
absolutely.
So get started, right? Open up like a Roth IRA if your income limits allow you to, or a brokerage account, and just consistently put money in there because And I'll say this too, we're gonna get a pullback at some point. I don't know what's gonna cause it.
Right, something's
There's
gonna
always gonna
happen.
be some sort of catalyst that pulls markets back. It
Yep,
happens all the time,
yep.
but at some point things will recover and the trajectory will continue to the upside. So you just got to be
Absolutely.
patient, and if you're willing to be
Absolutely.
patient and you're willing to be disciplined, it'll pay itself off. Investing is like
Absolutely.
work. It's like working out, man.
Yeah.
Like it's like work. It's like working out.
You're not gonna see the muscle the same day. You gotta keep
Nope.
going back over and over and over and over.
Yeah.
And consistent too. That's why I say automate that thing. Just automate it. And if you can afford to put more, put more. Forget about it. You know what I mean? So But let's move on, man. Next week, man, we have a lot of. First of all, we have earnings going on, and we have the Feds, and we have other numbers that's coming out. So next week, y'all, is gonna be a whole lot of volatility. If you're patient, you'll make good money if you're trading. If you're not patient, you're probably gonna blow up your account. So please, 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 please listen to this, man. So I think we have some of the big names. Boeing, IBM is reporting next week, I believe. Then we have Microsoft, Apple, Tesla, Meta, all the big boys. They're all gonna report next week. You know what I mean? So it's definitely gonna shift the market a little bit to see if those companies hit their numbers. If they don't hit their numbers or investors are not satisfied with one thing they said, I think we're going to see some pullback because those are the big boys going to be reporting all this stuff. So again, those companies reporting next week is going to have a major impact on how we see the next couple of weeks going to look like. So this might be the pullback that we're talking about, or this might be another leg up for the market to run up. We don't know. So we shall see, man. But if Intel is any indicator how the market is going to do next week, because remember, if Microsoft pull back or Apple pull back or Tesla pull back, those usually pull back other stocks with them. You know what I mean? So it's like other stock usually goes down with them too. So again, just it's gonna be very interesting to see how the investors react to those next week. Any feedback you want to put on that on the earnings for next week?
Yeah, so one of the ones I'll be watching is Apple. Apple has been down for what, 3 or 4 straight weeks, just
Yep.
consistently just going down. So I
Yep.
will want to see what they're going to report because it looks like the expectations um going into the earnings report is very low. Like they have very low expectations.
Yep. Yep. Yep.
So we'll see what happens with that. Another one I'm thinking about is Amazon because Amazon didn't have a good 2025. Like they were basically either down or flat for the year. Didn't really do much. So I'm waiting to see what they have to say as far as what their business is doing, where the growth is happening,
Yeah.
and things of that nature. So
Yeah. So
yeah,
that's gonna be
and
interesting.
it's going to be a busy week. I also say
Yep.
today I was a lot patient today in my trading, and I did a lot better than I did the day before.
It's those entries, man. Those entries, bro. It's like you just gotta sit back and wait for
See, I
it, you
think the
know?
thing that I need to get out of my head is when I know I got somewhere to go and I got to leave by a certain time, and I'm looking at the charts, I'd be like, no, let me just get in this
Just
trade.
get
If
in
it,
right
if it
now,
works
yeah.
out, it works out, and I'll get out. I need to
Oh
be a little
man.
bit more. I need to be a little bit more patient with that. But
You can,
yeah, today worked out a lot better than the other days.
you
And
can
I'll also say this too: some days, if you don't like the price action, just close
just
your
sit back.
computer.
Yeah, just sit back, relax. Cause yeah, if you don't see your entry, if you don't see your setup, just don't do it, man. Cause
Yeah,
at that point you're pushing it, you know. So
yeah. I gotta tell myself that. I got to tell myself that more often now because sometimes I just be like, man, I sit there and sometimes I rush stuff, but
yeah,
or I'll make a small entry and I'm just okay. If this doesn't work out, then I'll just
get
you know
out.
just
Yeah.
get out. So
In that case, man, paper trade, bro. Like that's the only thing I can say. I know it doesn't give you the same effect, but
that's true. That's true.
it
That's
doesn't
true.
give the same. It's not the same impact because you don't have money online. You just like
Hmm.
you don't think about it that way.
Yeah.
But also next week, man, we have consumer confidence comes on Tuesday, January 27th at 10 a.m. And then we have the big old boys coming out on 28th. FOMC, the interest rate decision is going to come out, and then Powell is going to come up. Now, here's my theory: every time Powell come out, I guarantee you Trump is going to talk. Trump has been negotiating, trying to figure out who's going to be the next Fed chair. I guarantee you, he's probably going to announce it at the same time when Jerome is talking, or shortly after Jerome talks. You know,
That would be
he,
wild. That would be wild if he did it during the press conference. Woo.
bro, that's dramatic, and our president loved the drama, so it's like he's probably gonna do it at that time. We never know, but that's gonna be wild because I think he's getting closer to deciding who's gonna be the next Fed chair.
Mhm.
So we are definitely looking forward to see who's gonna be that person because that's gonna have a huge impact on one, how fast we got interest rate cut, and two, I think IWM was gonna be. We'll see how that impact IWM basically if that announcement comes out.
Yeah, and we're not expecting. No, I don't. I think everybody's expecting the Fed to hold at this
The
next
hold,
meeting. I don't
yep,
think anybody's expecting a cut. So
yep,
we'll see how the market reacts to that. I think that that's something that we should be paying attention to.
yep, yep.
Um, but
But
yeah, I know next week is gonna be wild.
It's gonna be a roller coaster. And then we have, of course, the initial jobless claim that comes out every Thursday, 8:30 a.m. Again, that's another number we should keep an eye on. Then we have US trade deficit, US productivity, wholesale inventories, and factory orders all come out around 8:30, from 8:30 to about 10 a.m. But don't forget, Friday, January 30th, we have PPI.
Oh,
And that one is a delayed report. We have PPI and then we have the core PPI. They're all coming at the same time. Then we have PPI year over year. And I don't know, man. I just think, I don't know. I just think next week is gonna be a mess. Like we just have to see how the stock market reacts and stuff, because there's a lot of volatility. And any of those numbers that come out the wrong way or the good way, it can send the market either way. So we shall see, man. So what are your thoughts, bro? Because this is, I don't know.
yeah, I'll say next week. My how should I put it? My my thoughts are if I'm gonna be trading next week, it's just to be patient right now. Just be patient. What I'm kind of focused on right now is we talked about these on Wednesday. Is I'm doing a lot of research on software stocks that can make a comeback because again, I don't think that all software stocks are dead. So I have to. That's where I'm looking at. I'm kind of focusing. I'll probably be focusing more on investing than trading next week, right? So that I can position myself for the long term.
Hold on,
So
yep, yep.
cybersecurity is the sector that I've honed into, and there's a couple names that I have identified that I like. Some of one I already own. I might be looking to add, but that's what I'll probably be doing,
Okay.
next week. I thought that we would get a major pullback this week. When we got the VIX to 20, I was like, whoa,
It didn't stay
okay.
that long though. It
It
didn't stay
didn't
up that long. Yeah.
it didn't because when Trump came back and said he had an agreement with Greenland, um, that's when everything came back. And
Yeah.
I'm looking at bond spreads that give you an idea of how much risk is priced into the market. And we're not at any levels where I would be overly concerned. So, you know, I'm not unless Powell say some crazy stuff or Trump come out and say some crazy stuff. I think it's just going to be maybe sideways trading, business as usual. And then
Yep.
as we start getting the reports of the mega cap tech names, then we'll see where to go from there. But
Yep. Yep.
yeah,
Yep.
this sell off on IWM, I'm a little bit concerned about because it's pretty big, but at the same time, after a run like it's had, you have to see some sort
You
of
expect something to come
consolidation
back.
and
Yep. Yep.
pullback. Yeah. So
Absolutely.
yeah.
Absolutely.
So got to be realistic.
Yep. But like I said, man, next week, be mindful. Watch all these different numbers that's gonna come out, FOMC and all that, earnings also. So let's be patient. Let's be careful. Let's not blow our accounts. But if there's anything else to say, I think we said all of it. And hey, we'll be back on Wednesday after FOMC to see how what Jerome is talking about. So it's gonna be an interesting time. So hopefully like we don't see any crazy movements or any like too much volatility. But again, stay very, very patient next week. That's all I can say.
Yeah.
With that being said, as always, man, we always love when you guys come and join us on the show. But this is gonna do it for us for today. You guys have a great, great weekend, and please share this episode with everybody. Share this our channels with people that you think might be needing this type of information. Don't keep it to yourself. But again, man, we also have the group. Please join the group also. We give a lot of good feedback on the group. So yeah, that's all I have for today, man. You got anything else to say, Wale?
Nah, nothing else to say. I was looking at one of my long term portfolios, and I was just looking at the allocation. Man, um, yeah, international last year, crazy,
Mm-hmm.
crazy run in international. Let me see if I can go look at the
and and
breakdown.
and there and there's still there's still opportunity in international, honestly.
And I think international, if I'm not mistaken, the international and emerging markets, I think they had a really good week this week. If I'm not,
Yep.
depending on what you're using for your proxy, I think that they had a really, really good week this week.
Yep.
So, I will leave that on that note that, your long-term investments should be the most diversified.
Yep.
So,
Yep. Yep. But as always, man, stay disciplined, watch your risks, and next week don't chase the market. Let the market come to you because we're gonna have some good days. All right, y'all. Have a good weekend. We'll see you guys on Wednesday.
all right, everyone, take care. Have a good
All
weekend.
right. Peace. Good night.
Also, everybody on the East Coast, man, stay warm.
Bro, forget the East Coast. On the South, we about to get some
Y'all getting hit
crazy
too? Y'all
weather.
getting hit too?
We getting some crazy weather starting like tonight for the next couple of days.
Oh
So
wow, yeah, y'all on the South and on the East Coast, man. Y'all stay warm, man.
yeah.
Maybe this is God telling me not to leave California.
That's the one good thing about California. You ain't got to worry about this type of cold, Arctic cold, man.
It was 50 degrees. It was under 50 degrees today. I was complaining. You see
I
how I'm
bet you
bundled up?
were.
You see how I'm bundled up?
I
And
bet
it's
you were.
and it's fi- it's 48 outside and I'm freezing.
That's summertime in Chicago, man. If you go to Chicago right now, 50 degrees, everybody out in shorts, t-shirts.
Yeah,
Oh
I know.
man.
That's a different type of code. So y'all stay out there. Y'all be safe out there,
Yeah,
man.
please be safe. If you don't gotta go nowhere, I'm telling you, man, especially if you live in the south or the east coast, please stay home, relax, chill out, watch some good shows, and just stay home.